Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's video we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. We'll take a look at what's going on with Loopring, Ethereum, Orchid, and also going over a little bit what's going on in the news, but very brief on that because everyone's pretty much saying the same thing. So there's not really much to share in regards to that news with Bitcoin. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Excuse me. Let's try to get to 100 likes on this video and every crypto video that we do. It's greatly appreciated. Definitely helps us out in growing the community space. And also, if you guys can, click that bell icon so that way then you can stay alerted of all the latest videos as they come. Oh boy. Excuse me. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the news information first. Bitcoin plummets 17% for its biggest drop since March as its record-shattering rally stumbles, right? This was a little bit ago, but some interesting things since then. Also, CNBC says Bitcoin falls as record-breaking rally loses steam. All right, so we got those two out of the way. Bitcoin rallies nearly 15% after latest pullback. Look at that. Somebody actually highlighted one of the good elements to it. Yeah, Bitcoin had dropped down considerably, but it actually came back pretty strong too, which we're going to take a look in the charts in just a second here. JP Morgan is saying that Bitcoin could rally as high as $100,000, and they're suggesting that for the year 2021, but warns that such a surge would be unsustainable. Bitcoin could stage a monster rally in 2021 and reach $100,000, but pricing that level would prove unsustainable. JP Morgan said in a note on Monday, "We believe that the valuation and position backdrop has become a lot more challenging for Bitcoin at the beginning of the new year," JP Morgan said. At its market cap of $575 billion, Bitcoin would have to surge to $146,000 to match the total private sector investment in gold via exchange-traded funds or bars and coins, the note said. Do you guys think that $146,000 for Bitcoin this year in 2021 is possible? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. And also, you got somebody like Novogratz over here, Michael Novogratz. He said that he thinks that Bitcoin is due for a pullback, but institutions will buy the dip. And ironically, that's really what we ended up seeing. So let's go and take a look at the charts here and see what we are talking about, right? So if we zoom in quite a bit, you can actually see on the daily candle that we had a massive red drop yesterday. And when I say massive, I mean, I'm talking about $3,000 range. At one point, it was at a high of 33,691. It dropped down to 27,659. I mean, that's insane. So, you know, we haven't seen, like they said in the other article, something like this comparable since basically March of last year. So, hey, if this is the biggest drop of the year and the rest of the year is going to be cool, wow, okay, we took care of it one day. You know, I'm not saying that's going to happen by any means, but that would be kind of funny if that's what ended up taking place, right? Like, oh my God, the price. And then immediately the same day, somebody checks the price 24 hours ago and they're like, all right, it's doing pretty good. They look at it 24 hours later and they're like, oh, it dropped a little bit, you know? Not even like as if it was some super massive drop. If you watched it as it went down, obviously you start to freak out a little bit. But yeah, tons of buying pressure. You actually see the 21 EMA, which I've referenced to before, has still shown itself to be a quite substantial level of support. We didn't even actually reach that. That lowest point right around the $27,650 range would have had to have dropped down to $26,600 range, about another $1,000 to actually even touch the 21 EMA, let alone trying to break down below it and suggest a further decline or a further bear market position, right? So as we are right now, we are 23 minutes into the new daily candle formation as of the time of me recording this video, so 4:23 p.m. Pacific Standard Time while I'm recording. And you can see that we are on a green candle position as of the moment. We had a bounce off of right around the $32,000 range. It is trying to rally itself back up to the previous levels, passing $33,000, a psychological point. We had a little bit of resistance take place back here. That was right around $33,300. And then right now, the biggest contender is going to be at the $35,000 range. If we can pass $35,000, we're back into new all-time highs and back into the price discovery zone. We don't have a lot to be able to reference off of that much right now for trends, but you know, we're doing what we can with what we got. So realistically, 40K 30K is going to be a major milestone to try and pass. If we can do that, then the whole sentiment pushing towards 50K becomes even stronger once again. But, you know, we got to get past the $35,000 mark. $5,000 increments, $500 increments, rule of 5 with this kind of stuff is a very key psychological, because you're closer to one direction than another depending on what side you fall on that $500 mark, right? So we can actually go ahead and take a look back here on the 1 hourly. You guys can see that there was a massive drop that had occurred during this 1 hour period. From this 1 hour, it went from 33,000 all the way down to 30,500. So quite substantial drop within just a 1 hour time frame. There was a lot of buying that took place, a rally up, some sideways action, going in between these phases, a little bit further of a drop, and then as you guys can see during a 4 hour sequence right here, there was another substantial level drop, especially during this 1 hour time frame. Let's actually talk about this candle. I could hardly even see it because it was dipping into the volume down below, but that went from 31,200 all the way down to 27,700. So a very significant drop just during that 1 hour alone, not including the 3 hours that were before it. It actually dipped down on the RSI. You can see here into the oversold category, and it did rally itself back up into that position. So very interesting to see. You can even see up here, significant overbought position on the 1 hourly. Off of the 1 hourly, massive sell-off that took place, bringing it right down to almost like right dead on the 50 on the median zone on that. So interesting. It started to rise up even higher, a bit of a decline going down, then starting to break off into its sideways momentum there. All right, let's go ahead and go take a look at some of the other coins. Sorry about my throat, guys. I need to get some tea after this. Looking at Ethereum, Ethereum has broken above $1,000. And it's held above $1,000. Yesterday, its closure was at 1,044. Right now, we're pushing close to 1,100. Previous day, the all-time high that we hit for that, for the day, let me clarify, for the day, was $1,172. But if you actually zoom out here, the all-time high ever for Ethereum was back in the 2018 period, and that was around $1,420. So we are getting pretty darn close. We got about another excuse me. We're getting pretty close, guys. We're about $300, $330 away or so, right? So it could very well happen today. You just look at how explosive the last couple days have been, and we are seeing a further rally up. A lot of people want it to hit its previous all-time high, and then it goes into the price discovery zone. Once again, you don't know where it could go to next. So a lot of unanswered questions with that. Right now, it is in a green position. It is moving pretty strong. It is above 4 digits. So there's a lot of sentiment behind this, really considering not only the rally for Ethereum, but also the ERC20 tokens, which a lot of other people are looking at because they have a smaller market cap. They have smaller entry points per token. So you could potentially yield a higher return on those kinds of projects. Think of it like we're in a new industry space, and the leading innovators in this space that are first putting their foot down, trying to pave the way, they're the ones that have a lot of room to still grow. So, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see where this is going. If this decides it wants to drop down, we still have a major level of support at $834. A further level of support down below that is going to be at $764, which is on that 21 EMA. Keep in mind that as we have these massive gains taking place with Ethereum, this 21 EMA will begin to substantially incline as well. And the higher the level of incline for that, the more likely it is that the price will cross over, and that actually suggests once it drops below the 21 EMA that we enter a bear market, and the price will have a series of positions following afterwards that would close on a red candle, and suggesting some selling off action before potential further rally going up. And looking at Ethereum and its history and everything else, it's very suggestive that the price is going to go up. It's way, way more likely. I'm not a financial advisor, guys, but we look at the charts, we look at the historical trends, we look at what's going on in the news and the media. There's a lot of promise going on in Bitcoin. Again, I'm so sorry about my throat. And I appreciate all you guys being here. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We're getting close to hitting another milestone with that. Hit the thumbs up like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes on this video, and also click the bell icon. Continuing on with this, If we have a further drop down, even lower, looking at $700, further below that, 678. You got a lot of different Fibonacci levels going on with this. So I'm most concerned with where we're at currently. This is a very big bull run. Seeing these massive significant drops down to those kinds of levels, I would not expect it. We did see Bitcoin had nearly touched the 21 EMA on one single daily candle. So potentially, if this was to drop down below to $760, it could end up happening, something like that, a significant drop from this position, as people try to, essentially pump and dump these situations, which is what happens a lot of times. So let's go ahead and look at the next major cryptocurrency, which, by the way, after we get past 1,420 with Ethereum, the most logical next level would be 1,500 and then 2,000 and so on, and moving $500 increments for Ethereum. So let's go ahead and look at Orchid next. Looking over at Orchid, you can see that in the symmetrical triangle pattern, it is still filling in that gap. It is still trying to find its direction. A lot of times it tries to rally up really high, and then it dumps, pump and dump over and over again. Look at these massive candle wicks, right? On the upside especially. So huge increase and then massive sell-off. Huge increase, massive sell-off occurring with all this. So where is this going to go? Because right now, we're on the verge of breaking out above that level of resistance yet again. We are also very close to the 21 EMA yet again. And you can see that 21 EMA, it's getting pretty much to the point where it's hard to not go above it. And again, I talk about this from a fundamental standpoint. The 21 EMA is a really reliable indicator. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it's pretty reliable. And looking at a historical perspective with Orchid especially, if you get 3 days of closure, either above the 21 EMA or below the 21 EMA, then it shows a further rally in that direction. Now, keep in mind that we've been having a lot of trouble trying to do that, getting 2 days, and then we see it flip the other direction. So there was like one instance I saw, since it was a $1 range, where it had 3 different instances, and then it continued in that further direction, right? So that's very interesting. Keep in mind too that this could extend out to around January 7th, or kind of like a January 8th period right here. It's very close. January 7th, January 8th. We drop it down just a little bit. I was keeping it more on this line because there's more associations with those points. So I'd be looking right around January 7th, January 8th, if it decides that it wants to drop back down a little bit and continue to go sideways before it makes another major move. And it decides it wants to go a ton down or it wants to go a ton up. I will say this. It is a very high level on the list as far as coin market cap goes. Coin, it's a low price point. Most of their initial release of all of their tokens have been now done, right? So their total supply is 1 billion tokens for Orchid. 1 billion. Right now it's about 500 million. And there was a ton of releases going on in the last months, going back to those investors, the SAF tokens, and that was around 50 cents, 70 cent range that those investors came in on. So, it's interesting to see how this is playing out. A lot of that selling pressure could be from them doing dollar cost averaging, and now they're taking their profits and they're just saying, I just want to move on from the project. That could be happening. It also could be happening that there's bots that are automatically buying and selling. I believe it's more in the latter of the two. So if this wants to break above, right now we're seeing resistance at 23 cents, 0.2388. Next level is at 24 cents, 0.2418. Further continuation up, I would like to see it go into at least the bottom of this other consolidated space formation, which is realistically around 26 cents. Breaking into the psychological 30 cent range would be amazing. And then a further continuation up, if it could break out and establish itself with daily closures, 3 days closure above 32 cents, then I think we're much more in line with that new ability formation to go into the 50 cent range, back to $1 all-time high, potentially exceeding that kind of a position. You look at the project itself, a lot of adoption going on, a lot of exchanges listing it. It has to do with VPNs at the moment, right? Just focusing on the VPN industry, but they want to expand out into other markets. The fact that they're doing it with nano payment technology, I think this is absolutely amazing, and it's going to do absolutely amazing big things as more markets begin to adopt it. I'm sure that the demand for this is going to increase. They've already started working a little bit with the actual staking mechanics thanks to what's going on with OKEX. Further expansions out into that is expected to happen, which means pulling off the circulating supply. I've researched a lot on this crypto. I'm not trying to sell you guys on this, but just so you know, with the price point that it's at, from a personal perspective, a personal belief, I think this coin especially has a huge amount of potential, and it's unrealized by most of the community, and everyone wants to focus on that VPN element at the moment, you know. So it's looking where things are going to be a year and a half from now, and the track record of what they did last year was absolutely amazing. So I'm really impressed with this project. We'll have to see where it goes. This is the information I just shared with you guys from a bullish perspective, but let's be realistic. It is still below the 21 MA. Right? It still shows signs of bearishness until it crosses over that 21 MA, until it crosses over and closes above this key level of resistance. It's still in a bear trend, and it's been a very long trend, don't get me wrong, but it is what it is, and it could potentially still go down lower. If it decides it wants to go down lower, we could see some level of support around 23 cents. It's 0.2274. Further drop down below that, I would really be keeping an eye on 21 cents. I've mentioned this before. You guys can also see that the level of volume has been substantially on the decline. I mean, there was a little bit of an uptick that tried to occur right here, but overall, in comparison to what happened on December 21st, not much is going on. And you can even see on December 21st, that was such a buzzkill, man, because, I mean, this looks like a sword. Just look at this. It had a massive spike up, and it retraced everything, and it barely even closed out in the green. I mean, after all those gains, it actually almost closed in the red. The next day did close in the red, and there was even a further drop the following day. So absolutely bizarre that it had such a substantial, I mean, this amount of volume compared to yesterday, this is like, what, 3 times, 4 times more than this previous day position. So absolutely crazy. We'll have to see where it goes in the next day or two. Next up, let's look at Loopring. Loopring has been doing some crazy stuff. Look at that. It's at 38 cents. We're now on a third day of green candles. Yesterday had topped out around 42 cents. It's breaking above that. We're looking pretty good here. That was actually what looks to be like an all-time high for Loopring. So they're doing some really good stuff right there too. 42 cents, breaking into the 50-cent psychological range. Might end up trying to rally itself up to $1. Keep in mind, if this was to say reflect what happened with Orchid, we actually saw with Orchid 3-day pattern that had a significant push up to that dollar rally. So today, if it decided the same group of people wanted to have the same mentality with this, right, then we could very well hit $1 today and then a massive sell-off occur. I think that that massive sell-off will be more reflective of what goes on with Ethereum and what goes on with Bitcoin, or if there's another cryptocurrency that's starting to rally and people want to reallocate their funds. But I think $1 is going to be really difficult to try and break above. If it can manage to do so and have an even further continued rally, it'd be absolutely amazing. But in the short term for something like this, it's highly unlikely. It is possible, and I would love for it to happen because I also own Loopring, right? But I would say that the odds of it having a bounce off of that level of resistance at $1, it's going to be too enticing for people to try and get some profits off of that. If this decides it wants to drop down further, guys, I don't know why this is actually sideways. Why did I have that sideways? I also think it was a bit too low. I would be looking at right about here at 24 cents. So 24 cents is a key level of support. Further drop down below that, the 21 EMA at 21 cents, right? Now 21 cents is actually pretty well coinciding with back on December 30th. It's high for that wick. So a couple relationships right there. Ideally, we want 3 positions to identify a trend, but we're in a bull market. We're in the price discovery zone. Like, it's hard to have many things to be able to reference here. You, I guess, argue going back even further historical trends back like this, which is honestly a wise thing to do because I forgot to zoom out on this. But let's just go ahead and take a look here and see where some of the other formations are for this, which I would be most concerned with. Right now, we're at a higher position there. We don't have much reference points off of that. That doesn't look like it shows a lot of associations there. That is actually, that's a pretty good position right there, actually. I would say this because we have back on, it looks like September 15th, candle opening position. We had a bounce off on November 10th, and then a daily candle closure that happened on January 3rd, yesterday. Oh, the day before yesterday, technically on the candle position, right? So I would be looking at that. That's actually at 29 cents, 0.2966. All right. And let's go ahead and look at what's going on with XRP very quickly. XRP is still slightly in the green. 21 EMA is 32 cents. Further breakup, 44 cents. If it decides it wants to drop further down, you're looking at key levels of support at 16 cents. Well, basically 17 cents, 0.1698. Another zone at 11 cents, 0.1124. After that, we can also look at what's going on with Litecoin, and I'll go ahead and wrap up with Litecoin. So looking at Litecoin, had a bit of a sell-off yesterday, but still holding above $150 on the daily candle position, with a closure yesterday at 155. So we're slightly up on the new daily formation. Key level of support I would be looking at is $147. Further continuation up, we could see some resistance taking place at $189, like the $190 range. We still have quite a ways to go before it could go back to its previous all-time high. That was all the way up at $423. I would expect to see some other resistance taking place right around $250. I would not be surprised to see this rallying up pretty strong today, as things kind of go in cycles of what wants to move one day, and then people say, all right, that was enough selling or enough buying. Time to take some profits off of this today and reallocate our funds over into these other things over here. So I would not be surprised to see Litecoin honestly have its day today. And if it goes further down, guys, 125 is the 21 EMA, further drop down to $85, which would be very surprising, honestly, with everything that's going on, unless Bitcoin tanks massively again today or Ethereum decides it wants to tank. Then I wouldn't really expect that. But if it does, around $85, $86. That's going to go ahead and do it for this episode, guys. Again, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. Would love for you to be part of this community. We got a lot of good people here. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you thought about everything today. If there's anything that I missed that was significant that you think that people should be aware of, be sure to tell us in the comments down below. You can also just say hi if you would like. And also, if you can, hit the thumbs up like button. We're trying to get 100 likes on every single video. Every single like, every single day. It helps out so much. I cannot stress that out enough. And I know it might be a somewhat a slight inconvenience for you guys, but if you could get into the habit and you watch me all the time and you do enjoy this content, please, if you can, just take a quarter of a second and hit the like button. I appreciate it so much. Click the bell icon so you know whenever we have a new video. You guys are awesome, and I will see you in the next episode. Look at what's going on with Bitcoin. Look at this, on the rise. Hopefully it'll keep going after I upload this video.